for joining us as we talk about, are your drainage pathways open and why does it matter? A warm welcome from Bobbi and I. And drop in the comments whether you're watching us live or you're watching the replay, where you're watching from. We are not going to be able to see your comments because we are streaming from Zoom. So if you have a question or a comment, please write it later on. We will look at the comments and we will respond and try to answer questions that we can answer. So just a quick introduction. I'm Heather from Health Coaching by Heather, and Bobbi and I are both co-founders of Navigating Mold and CIRS Expert Insights online course. This is my dear friend and colleague, Bobbi McGrath. We both specialize in helping people recover from chronic complex illnesses like Lyme, mold toxicity, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, and chronic complex conditions using a regenerative approach. I'm just going to tell you a teeny bit about me, and Bobbi's then going to share a teeny bit about her, and we're going to get going. I personally had undiagnosed Lyme for 22 years. Undiagnosed Bartonella for that long, and a lifetime of mold exposure I didn't know about. And I was able to restore my health, get rid of Lyme in my body, get rid of Bartonella. Still peeling away a few little layers because I was sick a really long time, but I do not have any of my diagnoses or labels that I had before. So I'm going to let Bobbi share a little bit about herself.
Hello, thank you for inviting me on, and I'm excited that we're doing another live together on the root cause. And I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Thank you for the introduction, Heather. I'm a health coach. I'm a regenerative health coach and detoxification specialist, and I actually got that title or health coach title in 2018, the same year that I was really severely exposed to mold. And I've been working my way back from mold and chronic inflammatory response syndrome for that amount of time. Using the regenerative approach came in about in 2022. And Heather and I have been friends since we met in health coaching school a few years ago in a different school. And we just have been helping each other on our journey together through navigating through Lyme, mold, CIRS, and decided to do Navigating Mold and CIRS as a business together and create a course. And it's been a very eventful year, wouldn't you say, Heather, just doing this. And we're excited to share a lot of the tips and things that we have learned along the way. We can't tell you everything, but we can share some. And today we're going to get moving into why we are doing this type of work. And I would say for me, and Heather and I both have similar missions, is that we just really want to bring hope, and we want to bring a method that has worked for us. And we want to share with you the method that has helped us work our way back from chronic inflammatory response and detoxify our body. And I want people to stop suffering. I know it's really difficult for health coaches to see people suffering and getting misdiagnosed and trying to find that magic secret pill. And we're here to tell you there is not just one thing. There's a lot of different parts to your body that you got to work on. And today we're going to be talking about the drainage piece of it. And I'll let you tell why you are doing this type of work, Heather.
Just like Bobbi said, I really want to give people hope, especially people who've been sick a really long time, like I was. It's not an easy journey when you've been sick a long time to get better. It can be uncomfortable, but I want people to know no matter what the label you've been given, you can get to the root cause and bring your body back into balance. And both of us really want to decrease that time that people learn what's wrong and what the underlying root causes are. And we don't want people to suffer. The longer you're undiagnosed, living in mold or dealing with undiagnosed Lyme, it creates more things that you got to peel away. So we want to see people get better quicker.
Yep. So today, giving you a little bit of a teaser, we're going to be going through what the heck drainage pathways are. A lot of people don't even know what those are. We'll explain that, and we're going to give you a breakdown of some organs that you would want to be having on your radar and making sure that you kind of understand how they work and what symptoms are when they're not working well. So we're going to move into just going through a little bit about that, and Heather's going to talk to you about the first organ, which is the colon.
Yeah, I'm just gonna review real quick that we're gonna talk about these drainage pathways, which is the body's natural system for these toxins to leave the body or exit the body. And so we're going to go over the colon, the kidneys, the liver, the skin, the lungs, and the lymphatic system, and sort of go back and forth. So the colon is, where our bowel movements leave from, and that's our first and most important drainage pathway for these toxins to leave the body. If someone's not pooping, we do not want to be killing and we do not want to be detoxing because those toxins are not going to leave the body and it's going to increase symptoms that people have. So, usually, the first drainage pathway we have to assess as coaches is to make sure that people's bowels are moving. And a lot of times, if someone's not going to the bathroom regularly, that can be also connected to their liver struggling with toxins. It can be because people are living in mold. It's usually multifaceted. It could be because there's vagal nerve issues. So, as a coach, right, we assess those things so we can support people's bodies properly.
Yep. And having a backed up colon, we've all probably at some point been constipated. It is no fun. And when you're chronically constipated, that's when you're really putting your body under stress. So the second organ we want to talk about is your kidneys. And you all know that we have two kidneys. And if you just place your hands at the back of your back, at the bottom of your ribs, that's where your kidneys are, both sides. And your kidneys are a massive filter. If you've ever remember back to biology class in high school, if you've ever opened up a kidney, it's a fan shape, it's a beautiful organ, and it is designed to eliminate the liquid waste in your body. But it is a filter. It looks like a filter when you look at one. And when that filter gets clogged up with mucus and processed foods and things like that, it's not able to do its job. And so when the body is not able to do its job, especially the kidneys, the toxins build up in our system. And it's a filter for your lymphatic system. So when that happens, your kidneys can really have issues. A lot of times people, I always tell people when they have back pain, consider the fact that they may have some backup in their kidney, or sometimes when the kidney is stressed and swells, you can have sciatic pain. So there's a lot that goes into the kidneys, and especially because we walk around, most humans, dehydrated, your kidneys really, really struggle because it just doesn't have the liquid to be able to filter a lot of what's going on. And your mold especially is a kidney killer. It just damages all of those fine mechanical things that are going on in your kidneys. So your kidneys are something we got to pay attention to too.
And that's something that a lot of approaches do not often address,
Mhm.
is the kidneys. Like these other ones might be addressed, but the kidneys can get missed.
Yep.
The third organ we're going to talk about is the liver, which the liver is our body's main, biggest filter, basically processing everything that comes into the body in terms of food and breaking down toxins and drugs and waste products. It's important for helping the body create bile, which is important for digestion. It helps regulate blood sugar hormones and cholesterol. And a lot of times, I always see clients whose liver is struggling, and you are not going to see changes in blood work for your liver if your liver is struggling. The liver can have poor function that's decreased by 60% before it would show up on a test. So it's really important that we're doing things to support the liver when we're working on healing and detoxing and killing and supporting the body in the process. It's an organ that really needs a lot of love.
Definitely. So the next organ is the skin. It's the largest surface area type of drainage organ that we have. And you want to think of your skin as a reflection of the internal environment in your body. So if you've got beautiful skin, no blemishes, that kind of stuff, no wrinkling and things like that, but your body is really working well and it's vital. It has vitality. When the skin starts displaying things like acne and other issues like rashes or just really dry skin, that's when you can bet that you've got things going on in the body where there's just not a lot of flow going on. And when the other organs that we are talking about are struggling, a lot of times the skin will display that because it's an exit path. When it can't get out through the colon or the urine, sometimes those things make their way through the skin. So, going back to the liver, when your skin is telling you things, your liver really is under fire. So it's trying to connect the dots there with you, with your skin.
Yeah. The fifth organ is the lungs. And stay tuned because we are going to give you some tips and things you can do at the end. So stay tuned. The lungs, we are breathing out I want to say carbon monoxide. Did I get that right?
Dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Sorry, it didn't sound right. Carbon dioxide with our lungs. But even deep breathing, right, helps us get rid of toxins. And a lot of us, I know I have to really work hard. People can be real shallow breathers, but when we breathe down to our abdomen, that helps get the lymph moving and it helps with toxins leaving through our breath. And it's an organ that I learned about. Like I didn't know it was really involved a lot in detox and can really get missed. So doing deep breathing exercises, even a square breath, can really just help, and it'll help other things as well. It'll help your lymph, it'll help calm your nervous system as well.
Yep. So that Heather mentioned and touched on the lymphatic system. So your lymphatic system is the cleanup crew. It is the garbage waste or the sewer system of the body, and it flows along just like the blood flow. So blood feeds and the lymph cleans. So if your lymphatic system is blocked up or sluggish or thick, and you just have a lot of waste in your system that's not going fast enough out through the exits that we've been talking about, which that's what these are. These are exits in the body for waste to leave. Your lymphatic system's going to basically get backed up. And that's when things like cysts can appear in your skin. You can have lymph nodes that get larger, things like that. So your lymphatic system is really important to stimulate. And the only way it really gets moving is through the compression of your muscles moving. There isn't a pump like the heart has for the circulatory system. So you have to move your lymph. You have to be intentional. And if you're struggling with detoxification and opening up these pathways, your lymphatic system has to be addressed. It definitely has to be addressed. So that's going to lead us into why drainage doesn't equal detox. We want you to understand that it's kind of like a bathtub. If you went to go clean your bathtub, the first thing you'd need to make sure is that the plug in the bathtub was open. In order for you to put your cleanser on and scrub and rinse it down, if you did all that, but you didn't open up the drainage pathway or the pull the plug on the tub, it's all going to just back up into your system. So it's really important if you're considering to doing any kind of detox, or you want to do a 5-day cleanse, or your doctor's putting you on something, you got to make sure you do the prep work first. In order for the drainage pathways to be open, there's certain things that you can do. And that's one of the things that health coaches can help you with. Heather and I spend a lot of time explaining this to our clients and making sure they have things on board that they have to have in order, and actually little mini tests that they can do at home and tracking their bowel movements and things like that. You can actually feel worse if you start detoxifying, or if you're not even trying to detoxify and you're backed up, your colon, your kidney, your lungs, you're coughing and things like that, or you've been ill. Maybe you're not even interested necessarily in detoxing, but you've been ill and your lymphatic system has a lot of waste in it, or you've been injured like I was this spring, and having to make sure that after, the surgeries and things like that, I had to work my lymphatic system a lot. So we're going to talk to you a little bit now about the signs of what it looks like to have a backed up drainage pathway.
Yeah, and I just want to add to what Bobbi said. A lot of times we both see clients who are working with wonderful doctors and practitioners, and they're going in and they're doing killing of Lyme, killing of parasites, or they're putting them on a binder, they're putting them on cholestyramine or Welchol, or they're putting them on, another binder, but there's no prep. There's no prep of these drainage pathways. And I always see people not feeling well when that happens. And it happened to me over and over again, going to different practitioners. So we feel it's so important to educate you about this and for you to be able to start to recognize those signs when these pathways are backed up. So since I talked about the colon before, one of the signs your colon's backed up, if you are not having bowel movements, if your bowel movements are irregular, if there's constipation, if you're not having at least one bowel movement a day. And again, mentioning that the colon can be connected to the vagal nerve, it can also be connected to the liver and signs that the liver's struggling. So having somebody assess what's going on and really figure out what you need individually, because the same protocol doesn't work for everybody, is really important.
Yeah. Kidneys would be signs that your kidneys are backing up or struggling would be actually having pain, like I mentioned, in your low back, around the kidneys. Frequent urination, when toxins get stuck and they're not able to leave, especially in the bladder, you can have an irritated bladder and you can start having to go to the bathroom more frequently and more urgently. So keep an eye on that if you're having burning sensation. Also, rashes a lot of times can be because the kidneys are backed up because you're just literally, like I said, toxin can come out through the skin when other organs are stressed. So the kidneys is definitely something that hydration and electrolytes absolutely need to have those in order for the kidneys to be working and to reduce the mucus in your diet, which is a whole nother podcast or another live that we could talk about.
Well, the liver, some of the signs, and with the liver, some people can have rashes, but real classic dark circles under the eyes can be the liver or gallbladder really needing support. That is my sign that I need more support. All I have to do is look in the mirror. If you touch under your right rib and press, and you can press pretty hard and you're tender over your liver, that's a sign it needs support. If you have nausea, vomiting, even sometimes burping and belching, if you find you're angry all the time, that's really classic of a congested liver. And I have a lot of clients, and I actually woke up at 4 a.m. this morning because my liver needed more support. I have a lot of clients who wake up between 3 and 4 a.m., and that's when the liver is doing the most work. And if you're waking up consistently at that time, that's probably a sign that your liver is needing some love and some support.
So the skin is going to show you, we've mentioned before, rashes, but you can also have breakouts like acne. Like maybe you're old, you're an adult and you're past the acne stage, but all of a sudden you have a breakout. That's a sign that you could have some backup in your system. Dry skin is also another good clue that you have some drainage pathway issues when you have really dry skin. And then lack of sweating. We need our mitochondria, which is our ATP producers, which is our energy producers, and they're all over our body, but they're also a lot in our skin. And when your mitochondria are asleep or they're damaged or they're weak, they're not able to produce the energy it needs for the body to sweat. So those are just some signs with the skin.
With the lungs, some signs are congestion, like congestion here, coughing, or heaviness on the chest. And most of us who've been exposed to mold, at some point, there's some detox that sort of has to go on in the lungs. And sometimes we need to support that particular pathway a little bit more, especially like if you had asthma due to mold. I needed a lot of support of my lungs most of the healing journey. Now I haven't needed support at all. But if you have that, there are things you can do to support your lungs and give them a little bit of extra love.
And that leads us to the lymphatic system. That a lot of people don't connect the fact that they may have brain fog or just fuzzy thinking, can't retrieve a word, don't remember what they did yesterday, things like that. That can be a lymphatic system that's clogged, and you have one in your brain called the glymphatic system. And when it's not flowing and getting rid of the garbage, you can have fuzzy thinking. Heavy limbs is another one, like you just feel really heavy. Increased pain. Sometimes, a lot of times, people don't think that their lymphatic system would never imagine that you have joint pain or fatigue or increased pain because you don't have enough flow going in your body and the toxins aren't getting out. So these are the body signals that we're struggling to eliminate toxins, and we want to make sure that you put those on your radar and just maybe give it a second thought the next time you have a cough or an ache or a pain. And it's really important to understand that the main point of this whole live that we're doing is once you get your detox pathways open, you're able to support your body and you're not going to be recirculating those toxins, but you will be able to eliminate them. And that's the whole goal on a daily basis for every human, is to be able to keep up with the toxins and the waste that our body makes just by being alive and eating food and breathing, drinking water and things like that. And when you focus on opening those detox pathways and you're able to get the toxins out, you're able to think and move and have more vitality. And that's really, truly what Heather and I want, especially for people that have had Lyme, mold, CIRS impacted them. They're going to have to work a lot harder to be able to get the toxins out. And before you start any kind of detox program, it's really important to remember that you need to make sure that these detox pathways are open. And that's why working, with a coach that can help you would be great. And Heather's going to start off with some tips. We've got some tips for you.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, a lot of times people will say detox pathways, and we do it too. Really, there, and Bobby sort of explained there's a difference between detox, which is pulling the toxins out of the tissue, and drainage. So when people say detox pathways, I'm sorry, morning voice, they're really referring to these drainage pathways, the liver, the colon, but sometimes we use it interchangeably, but they're really different, right? Drainage is making sure that Bobby talked about, that the drain is open, that the colon is flowing, bile is flowing, the liver is flowing, the lymph is flowing, the kidneys are flowing, so that when you are taking a binder, when you are eating to detox and doing things to detox, those toxins can leave through those funnels, through those exit routes in the body, since we sort of interchange those words, and I do it all the time. And it's so, just know the difference between the act of detoxing and what your drainage pathways are, and some inexpensive things you can do. For the liver, the really inexpensive, to get a roll-on, or just buy castor oil, but I find it to be sorry, morning voice. I find it to be very messy and sticky. So I got this like glass organic castor oil on Amazon for like $10. And you just roll it on your liver, which is right under your right rib. And you don't even have to have a castor oil pack. If you want to, you can wrap, like some people take a heating pad and just for added warmth for that to get in to the liver. And you can do this once a day, twice a day. Sometimes I add some frankincense essential oil, like a drop or two, on top of my liver because it's super anti-inflammatory. But I've been using this quite regularly lately, but very inexpensive to use castor oil. And you can also put castor oil in your belly button. Just super, just an amazing, inexpensive tool. But I want to tell you, for most people that we see, just doing castor oil on the liver is not going to be enough. Like, these inexpensive tools are great, but you need multiple tools in your tool chest.
Yep. And I love also doing it on your kidneys. So you can rotate, right? You can rotate from your liver to your abdomen, low abdomen, where most of your small intestine bowels are. And then you can flip it to the back on your kidneys. And so you could do it one night, watching TV on your kidneys, and then switch to the next night would be on your belly. But there's definitely ways to do that that make it easier for you. And one of the things that you can also add to your self-care routine is dry brushing. So this is a dry brush. It's got a nice long handle so that you can reach different areas of your body. But there are lots of different videos on YouTube. There's one in particular I use and send to my clients that teach you how to dry brush. And dry brushing means you're doing it before you get wet in the shower. So a lot of times I'll get in the shower and dry brush and then turn the shower on to make it easier. And that way, when you're, it's brushing off dead skin too, it's going into the shower and going down the drain versus dry brushing, let's say in the middle of your bathroom floor. It's stimulating your circulation, which is excellent because blood feeds. It's opening and stimulating your lymphatic system, which is the waste system. So it's feeding and it's also cleaning. And then it's also feels good. So it's toning up your nervous system. It's improving your vagal tone, which is your vagus nerve, which is a huge nerve that leaves the back of your brain. Your 10th cranial nerve goes down through your neck and then innervates most of all of your organs. And when you stimulate that nerve by doing different vagus nerve toning exercises, you're bringing in the calm, digest, and the rest kind of feeling into your body. So just with this one tool, you can do quite a few things, and learning how to use it properly is important, but it is an excellent way to open up those detox pathways while you're working. Like Heather said, it's not a one and done thing. It's not doing one thing. It's doing kind of the best program for you and making sure that you like it and you don't feel overwhelmed trying to do too many things.
Thanks, Bobby. So just that reminder, it's good to have tools at home that you can do, but you really, if you're chronically ill and you're working on getting well, you really need a seasoned practitioner to assess your pathways. Everybody's different. I needed pathway support on almost every pathway, and I needed it the entire journey, and it changed at seasons. Um, and to find out what's going to support your body the best. If you're super sensitive, there are different things we can do versus somebody who's not as sensitive. There's so many different options. It's not a one size fits all. Everybody should do the same protocol, and that's why it's great to have a coach come alongside you, working with your practitioner, your doctor. If you love your doctor and they're not addressing the pathways, a coach can help support you in doing that, and then you'll feel better in the process of healing. You're going to be better supported, and these toxins are not going to be recirculated. So again, reach out to either of us. I'm going to put the links when we're done with the live to each of our websites. Um, Be For You Health Coaching is Bobbi, and Health Coaching by Heather is Heather. If you want to look at our websites and you want a discovery call or you want to book a call with either of us. Um, and then Bobbi, you were going to just mention, I think, about the course real quick.
Yep, we have developed a course that's for practitioners, but it can be for an astute patient or client. And basically it gives you the roadmap to get through a chronic illness like a mold or a Lyme or a CIRS using the regenerative approach. And each module is going to tell you lots of information, but it's also going to give you practical advice and tools and tips. And so we would love for you to take a look at that at navigatingmoldandsurs.com. It's a self-paced, on your own kind of digital course. And we are always there to support you if you have questions. We'd love for you to check that out.
And we do have a patient course coming soon. We don't have a date on when it's coming, but it is in the works. It is written. There's just a lot to launching a course online on the back end of it. So that is
Yep.
coming soon, and we're excited, really excited about that as well.
So thanks so much for
So
joining us today. We want to close up shop here, and you can put your comments in once Heather's done posting this, and let us know what you thought and what your biggest takeaway was today. And remember, your body can only can detox naturally, but you have to have your detox pathways supported and open. So we hope you enjoyed our live, and we will see you in 2 weeks. We will be talking, I can't remember what the topic was. It was about different organs, I think. We're going to talk a little bit more about those. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next live.
thanks, everybody.
Bye.